Right, from the one day internationals, we move on to the T20 internationals, and from the one part of the country to the other, because it's Ahmedabad to Kolkata now for the three T20 internationals between India and West Indies, and it's going to be absolutely lip smacking because the West Indies, of course, beat England in their last T20 international series, and as usual, we have Daren Sammy joining us right now, and I caught him off yet again in his golfing gear because that's what he apparently does in St. Lucia nowadays. Darren, how are you first and foremost?
I am great. Yesterday was Valentine's Day, had an amazing day, and so did I'm hoping my West Indies boys had a great Valentine's Day and they're ready for this T20 series, which you know promises to be exciting. And I think West Indies would fancy their chances better in that series than they did against India in the ODIs.
Absolutely. It's going to be, like I said, lip smacking, but there's so many subplots to it as always. Let's, of course, start with the West Indies first. They'll be sweating on Kieran Pollard's fitness by the looks of things. Now, Nicholas Pooran captained, and he did a pretty decent job, even though the results went against him. How will they cope without Pollard, first and foremost, the cricketer, let alone the captain?
Well, Pollard, what he's the most experienced guy in that dressing room. As a
Yeah.
leader, as a player. So he'll be greatly missed. But you must admit, when Pollard has been absent, Puran has really stepped up to the plate. And actually, if I'm recall, just out of memory, West Indies has done well, really well under Puran, leading the series. I remember in the Caribbean against Australia, he led them to that series victory. The only game we won in the World Cup, he was on the field during that period, and so West Indies would still be in good hands. But yeah, we would rather Pollard be available for selection.
Yeah, Kieran Pollard is just absolutely one of the finest players in T20 cricket, let alone the West Indian team. Speaking of whom, they performed exceedingly well against England, beating them 3-2 in that last series. Now, what I want to ask you is people like Rovman Pearl and Romario Shepherd, they didn't feature in the one day internationals. Do you think they'll get a look in the T20s?
Oh, most definitely. They were very instrumental in the last series, especially Rockman Powell, who's been out of the team but coming back into that series against backs of good performances in the T10 and the competitions he's played abroad. So he's in good nick. And the beauty about this T20 team, we have a couple guys, some are newly made millionaires and stuff in from the IPL auction, and they will take that confidence knowing that they are appreciated and valued, and they will be eager to put a performance, especially for the new teams that will be looking out to see, did I make the right investment against this guy? So it brings a lot of excitement. And Rothman Powell, Romario Shepherd, Odin Smith, all these guys, Jason Holder, all these guys have been really, really good. And unlike the West Indies ODI form, the T20 batters up front, the batters King and the newly tried opener in Kai
Kyle
Mayers,
Mears. Yeah.
all these guys will not bog down to India. So, and we all know what our lower order can do. We almost chasing 28 or 13-1 over against England. So I'm really excited about that. I think the difference would be who bowls better. As you saw in the ODIs, who bowls better in the power play and in the back end of the inning will be victorious in this series.
Yeah, we've hit the nail on the head. And that was my follow up question, actually, in the fact that an IPL auction to save up for West Indian cricket, it's always been like that because the power, the vibes that you guys bring is just indifferent to any other. Right, let's just ask you in terms of the grander scheme of things, Darren. The World Cup, of course, is not too far away. And I say that because time flies these days. Are you happy with the current T20 squad, like you look at it? They have their bowling options, they have batting depth. What more does the West Indies need to emulate what you did, of
Yeah,
course, in 2012 and
um,
2016?
it's a conversation we've had even before the World Cup in the UAE. And I spoke to the chairman of selectors back then, and even Captain Pollard. And there is always always a structure in which things are done. And for me and the team that I had, the cushion and the calmness that brought to me as captain is having two quality bowlers. Top 10 bowlers. I think Samuel Badger and Sunil Narine were in the top 5 bowlers in the world. Even though we had our power play, our power pack batters batting from 1 to number 8, 9, when we put runs on the board, we had the bowlers who could get wickets. And that's been the story for the ODI team. And in the last few years, since 2016, with Badri and Sunil Narayan not playing often, we've missed that champion bowler to come in and get that wickets. Hopefully, Hayden Walsh could do that. We have Akil Hussain, who all the other bowlers are defending bowlers. They contain you, but they don't have that wicket taking bowler. So hopefully we've seen Jason Holder, what he could do in the back end and with the new ball. Hopefully we see more of Hayden Walsh bringing that leg spinning option. But if it's one area I would say that West Indies really need to strengthen for that World Cup is that wicket taking bowler where a partnership is built. I know when I had Narain call on Narain, the momentum of the game just changes. So we need to find that. But apart from that, I think the batting we have now and the new form of the guys should take us through.